Hello everyone, and welcome to this little bonus episode of Home Together. Last time, we saw a great nativity that told the story of Jesus being born. But that wasn't the end of the story. Here are a few other things that happened around that time that showed who he really was.
40 days after Jesus was born, about 6 weeks, Mary and Joseph visited the temple, which is like a huge church in Jerusalem. While they were there, they met two people, Simeon and Anna. Simeon believed that he wouldn't die until he had seen God's promised person, they used the word Messiah, who would come to make things right. As soon as he saw the baby, Jesus, he knew that the Messiah was here. Anna also recognized Jesus as the promised one and gave thanks to God that she had seen the one that she had been waiting for. At that time, the king of Israel was called Herod. When the wise men arrived in Jerusalem looking for a new promised king, they had visited Herod's palace. But Jesus hadn't been born there. Herod's advisors told him that the promised one, the Messiah, was to be born in Bethlehem. So Herod sent the wise men to Bethlehem, telling them to come back to him to let him know where the baby was, so that he could visit and honour the child. The wise men didn't go back. They had been warned that Herod wanted to get rid of Jesus. Herod was angry when he realised and sent soldiers to Bethlehem. But Joseph saw an angel in a dream who told him to take Mary and Jesus and escape to Egypt. So that's what they did, and they stayed there until Herod died. Then they returned to their home. We don't know much else about Jesus as a child, apart from one story. Every year, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus would travel back to visit the temple in Jerusalem with a group of friends and family. One year, as they were on their way home, Mary and Joseph realised that Jesus wasn't with them. He wasn't with their friends or family either. They went back to Jerusalem to look for him. They searched for 3 days before they found him sitting in the temple, talking to the religious teachers. "Why have you done this to us?" said Mary. "We've been so worried searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" Jesus replied. "Didn't you know I'd be in my Father's house?" Mary and Joseph didn't understand what he meant, but it seems that Jesus already knew that he was God's son. We then don't hear anything else about Jesus until many years later, when he had grown up. There was a man called John. John travelled around, telling people that they needed to change the way they lived and turn back to God. Now, as a sign that they had decided to do this, John would baptise people, dunking them under the water of the river and bringing them back up. Some people thought that John was the promised Messiah, but he told them that another person was coming who was much greater than he was. One day, Jesus came to be baptised by John. John had told everyone listening that this was the promised chosen one, the Messiah. And Jesus was baptised. When he came out of the water, an amazing thing happened. What looked like a dove came from the sky, and the voice of God spoke. "This is my Son. I love him, and am very pleased with him." So here he was, the Messiah, the promised person, the one they had all been looking for.
In those stories, lots of people were looking for something that they found. And what they found was Jesus. As a little activity, maybe you could play a game that involves looking for and finding something. You could play hide and seek, go hide yourself and get someone else to see if they could find you. Or you could find a little toy and hide that for other people to find. Another idea, you could go out looking for things that start with every letter of your name and see how many of those you could find. Stuart, Sarah and I will be back very soon with another full episode of Home Together. But until then, goodbye.